Welcome to another edition of Talk Football Live. This week is a little different. We're doing individual previews. I'm going to be looking at the Chelsea Tottenham game. Tottenham is at home in this fixture. Before we go ahead, please, real quick, like, share, subscribe. Let's get out of the way. All right. Looking forward, so let's look at what we're likely to see. In terms of injuries, the good news for Tottenham is they don't have a lot of competitions. And in as much as they don't have a large squad in terms of quality and depth, they're also missing a lot of players. So we know Perisic, Mano Salomon, and Sessegnon are definitely ruled out. Destiny Doyle got injured, and Ben Davies replaced him in the last Premier League fixture. And then during the week, I'm told Destiny Ben Davis got a knock. So it's still up in the air who's going to start there, but I think we should expect to see Ben Davis be fit enough to take a place. We still have a couple of days before they get started, so there's some time there. For Chelsea, Chelsea have a big squad, but they also have a lot of injuries. So Fofana is out, Chilwell is out, Lavia is out, Nkunku is out, Kane Chukwuemeka is out, Chaloba is out, and Modric and Broja are apparently doubts. Broja should be fit enough to take a place on the bench, but so that means we're likely to see Nicholas Jackson start up front, except uh, Pochettino decides to do some things interesting. All right, let's take a look at possible starting lineups and how both teams are likely to set up, right? So, starting with Tottenham, they have a very settled team. Ange typically starts with the same 11 if there are no injuries or suspensions. Vicario in goal. This partnership of Romero and Van de Ven seems to be working very well. Van de Ven is big, but he's also very quick. So he does a lot of the mopping in behind. Romero tends to step up more and be more aggressive. And then they usually have Pape Matassa and Bissouma in midfield. It's very interesting what they do here. So, as like Liverpool and Arsenal and City like to do, where you might have a fullback step into midfield, um, Angie actually sets up a little different. Pape Matassa tends to drop into that right back role, which allows Pedro Porro to push up sometimes when they're building out from the back. And so he's more on the wings rather than tucking in, and Matissa drops out to the side. Up front, of course, we're going to have Richarlison, Madison, and Kulusevski. Son is back on form. He's the captain. And this team are very, impressive going forward. I'm going to talk about some key stats here in a few minutes. But let's look at the Chelsea side. Rhys James has, been back now. He played, about 5-10 minutes at the end of the Chelsea Arsenal game last weekend. He started in midweek in the Carabao Cup, and I think he's going to be fit enough to start. I don't think he'll play the full match, but I think in a game of this fixture, this magnitude, it's a London derby. I think we're likely to see Rhys James step up and start. One thing that has been going well for Chelsea, despite their form so far this season, is they have actually their defense is very good. Marshall Deba, Thiago Silva. I think Levi Colwill will start alongside him. They've tried, a couple of others back there. They've tried Disasi. I don't think Disasi is working too well. So, Levi Colwill seems to have sealed his spot there. And I think Cucurella will take his spot at left back. I think we're likely to see Pochettino line up with a three in the midfield to try and counter what Tottenham does when they're attacking. The past few games, we've seen Cole Palmer maybe drop into that 10 role and they've played Maduka out wide, but I think he's likely to reverse to the 4-3-3, assuming all of Caicedo, Fernandez, and Gallagher are fit. Gallagher, all three of them have work rate. They're going to have to cover a lot of ground to nullify that Tottenham attack, and I think it's going to be needed for them. Jackson is likely to start. Broja, like I said, is supposed to be on the bench, and I think we'll see Sterling and Cole Palmer on the wings. Now, something interesting that these two both like to drift inside. Sterling's stronger foot is on the right, so he'll tend to come in and occupy some of these spaces. Cole Palmer saying they'll drift middle and maybe look to release Jackson with a through ball. All right, so I talked earlier about some key stats, right? And I mentioned how Chelsea are very good with their defense so far. So they've conceded very few goals so far. They have 3 clean sheets, so that's something good that's going for them. They're not necessarily leaking goals. They tend to lose goals by the odd 1 goal. They really lose by 2, 3 goals, right? So that's something good that's going for Chelsea. Tottenham on the other side, top of the league, they're looking good everywhere. So they have 4 clean sheets actually. But what really starts to separate this team when you look at the attack is Tottenham is first in the league in terms of shots, whereas Chelsea, on the other hand, is 11th, right? And there's a clear difference that you don't score if you don't take shots. It's just that simple. And that is actually reflective as well of their league positions. Tottenham is first on the league, Chelsea is around 11, 12. So that accounts for shots as well. When we're looking at goals, Tottenham have scored a lot, but they're not necessarily the best attacking outfit. They're sixth in terms of goals at the moment. Chelsea, both teams will pass each other, so it's going to be interesting to see which team takes possession. I think we're likely to see Chelsea dominate possession more here. They're second in the league in terms of passes, over 6,000 passes. Tottenham are right around 6,000. I think Chelsea will look to take control and look for openings, whereas Tottenham will maybe try to stay more compact. And, I think we'll see spells of possession for both teams over the course of the game. It'll also be very interesting to see how subs come into play and change the tide of things. We know he likes to bring in Højbjerg for Bissouma sometimes later in the game. Not a lot of options attacking. Like I said, they don't have a very deep squad on the Tottenham side. So no Manor Solomon, who used to be an option for Richarlison before he got injured, rather. Heung-min Son is likely to play the whole game. And in the back, Sanchez, very good with his feet, but I haven't been so impressed with his goalkeeping skills. Vicario has been outstanding. Vicario, Tottenham are actually ninth in terms of saves. So they concede a lot of shots, which I think is by design with how Ange likes to play. He likes expansive attacking football, and I think that sometimes leaves them open at the back. But Vicario has been amazing. I've seen him make some great saves. But the downside is Chelsea aren't taking shots. So if Chelsea start to take shots in this game, I think we'll see an opportunity for Chelsea to win this game. Now, where do we see key battles, right? So I talked earlier about the midfield. And when you're looking at, Gallagher, Caicedo, or Fernandez, that's a midfield that you expect to dominate this game, right? You're facing Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison. Now, the challenge for that Chelsea midfield, in as much as I said they're likely to dominate possession, is Son and Maddison are very adept at finding pockets of space in your defense. And I think that's something Chelsea is going to need to be wary of when they are both in and out of possession, right? If you lose possession, you want to make sure you're compact enough to recover. And when you're out of possession, you want to make sure you have a solid structure. But Son and Maddison will find opportunities, look for through balls in behind Colwill. That's Tottenham are, I think, probably number one in terms of through balls in the league. So they like to look for spaces in behind your defense. And I think Chelsea need to be very wary of that. So that's how I see it going. It's going to be, for Tottenham will score in this game, that's for sure. When we look at prediction in terms of how the scoreline is likely to end, I think this might be an opportunity for Chelsea because, for one, Pochettino is very familiar with this squad. He was there for, I think, 4 years or so. They've had their best, period in recent times with Pochettino in charge. He got them to the Champions League final, got them regularly into those top 4 spots. But he's very familiar with all these players. Bissouma, Ben Davies, Kulusevski, Papasar. So there are quite a few new faces as well. But I think on the whole, at least in terms of Defending against Son and Madison, those two are no strangers to him. He's been in this league before. Those two have been in this league for a while. So I think best case scenario, I could see maybe a 1-1 draw for Chelsea going into this game. Again, the challenge is they're not taking a lot of shots. They're finding difficulty scoring goals. Tottenham definitely will score, so that's not the question. The question is, can they keep Tottenham out enough to prevent them from winning the game? So there it is. Looking forward to a very exciting matchup. There's still big teams despite the positions in the league, and wherever you are, don't miss that fixture on Monday. Thanks, guys.